Hey, what's up everybody? It's Bear from the Bearded Pig. Today I'm in the bear cave, aka my Rubbermaid shed, that I know would give a lot of you anxiety because I am not OCD and it is kind of a mess in here. But I have a project that I'm going to start walking you guys through. It's a DIY quick release case setup that we can actually put on for a top case. So what I've done is I've taken off the top case and came across this video on YouTube, which I will link below because the guy deserves all the credit. But what we're going to use today is cutting boards. So I ordered these about 1/2 inch thick, really tough, like you can't even hardly bend them, cutting boards. That what I'm going to do is pretty much be cutting them off in about half right here. So I'm gonna make sure I can get the tool case on there. I'll go ahead and measure these out, get everything clamped in. I'm gonna cut them probably to the form here, or I might just cut them straight across. I haven't decided yet. For speed, I might just cut them straight across. But what happens is you do 2 of them, and then cutting a square out of the top one and a long rectangle out of the bottom one that's like 2 inches longer than the square that you cut out the top one. And you can take the leftover cutting board that you use here, and then you put pretty much a short piece and then a long piece on top of on the bottom of your case. And so your case is pretty much going to set in the small square, slide forward, and then you drop a bolt in there on the bottom of the case right through here. So I'll have to drill a hole in here that keeps the case from moving back, and then you can tighten that bolt down. So I'll take pictures and video as I work through the process. I have a bunch of different things here that I know you'll need. I'll need some Forester bit, drill bits. I got some screwdrivers here. I have a drill, a sander to cut down the edges. I have a speed square. I have a rotary saw, and I have a circular saw there. Those are 2 failed ones that I did. I was getting too dark and I ended up mismeasuring. So you also need some clamps. So make sure you have your clamps all set up, and I'll take pictures as I go about here today, kind of getting this set up, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have a quick release case so I can start using these Bauer cases the appropriate ways of switching them out as I go. So follow along. I hope these directions will be clear enough. I'll try to do some illustrations if I need to in post-production to get you guys organized, so stay tuned. All right, so I have both cutting boards lined up here. I have them centered and clamped on really well to the case, which is upside down. What I'm gonna do first is I'm actually gonna drill out these 4 holes here, and then I'll do these holes here. For these holes, I'm gonna use a 1/16 bit, because I'm gonna actually get them all set up for the Forster bit, which I believe I'm gonna use the 3/4 bit to kind of make the plastic wider along where those channels are, so I can drop my my braces right in there. I was gonna buy longer bolts. I'm running out of daylight, so I'm not gonna worry about that at all. So I'm just gonna drill the Forstner bit, make sure the hole's wide enough that these match up, these 4 here, and that way I can take this off if I need to, whenever I want to. But yeah, that's first step is just drilling holes and get this kind of all plugged away. So I think the trickiest part of getting even started is getting this thing squared away. So I'm just going to call it good enough. Every time that these cutting boards are pretty, I don't want to say it, they slide around a little bit. So every time I go to clamp it down, the case shifts a little bit. But I'm gonna get a hole drilled in there. And it looks, I mean, from the sides, it looks pretty even. As much as I can do on the back here, it looks pretty even. So I'm just gonna call it good enough and just roll with it. All right, so I have these 4 holes drilled out. I don't know if you can see the ground. So these are drilled out. I have these ones drilled out with a smaller bit. I'm getting them prepped for the Forstner bit. It's Forster bit. I keep on pronouncing that wrong. So give me heck in the comments. I don't care. So next steps is I'm actually gonna flip it over. One second. Flipped over, and on this top one here, what I'm going to do, since everything's kind of clamped in, I'm actually going to drop a couple bolts in the bigger holes over here. But I'm gonna take them out as I go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Forstner bit and get it prepped So I'm using a 3/4 bit, Forster bit. Once again, this is gonna go right in these holes. Just shave a little bit off the top. Let's get ready for the next step. All right, I got my 4 starter holes there. This one ran a little deep. Hope it's gonna be okay. If all else fails, I can throw some epoxy in there. I think it'll be all right. So now I'm gonna unclamp this, drop a bolt into these holes here so it stays synced. And then I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna use a 7/8 inch to bore through here. I hope that should leave enough space. Sorry, you guys get to see my real world thinking. It's gonna be kind of closer on the edge on the back here. This is what happens through a little slide edge, but should be able to hold it in there pretty good. And then we'll attach it from the bottom. So next step. So I took the top case off, the top case holder off, dropped the 4 bolts in, and I'm running my fingers over here. And I think I have enough play in most of these. I can actually add a washer on the this side and just screw it in on the bottom and then attach it to the plates using these holes here. So I'm going to get these holes drilled out so they're a little bit bigger, so I can actually use the mounter, mount it right to the thing. And then after that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to do some measurements here. Let's get that smaller square out. On the bottom, we're going to extend that square out about 2 inches if possible, so the case can slide in there and then slide up. Then we'll lock it in, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so got those 4 holes drilled. So once again, these will be the holes. So I can screw in the mounting bracket right here. Got these ones drilled. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure it up. I'm gonna do a straight cut across. I don't want to worry about any of the boundaries or rims, so I'm gonna kind of get lined up and gonna measure it from like right here on the side. I'll just use my speed square to cut it straight, and then we'll go to the next steps. All right, so I have my line drawn. I'm gonna use a skill saw, and then I'm gonna use a sander to round up the edges after I do the cut. So that's next step. All right, so got this cut out, sanded down. Once again, as far as mounting goes, it's actually gonna set like this. So I just wanna be conscious of where I'm putting things. So I'm gonna actually take this off, make sure everything works, make sure I can still attach it to the bike before moving to the next steps, which is gonna be cutting a hole. I'm gonna use an old license plate here to kind of use it as a straight edge to cut. This is gonna be pretty consistent. So I'll make a square shape out of the rectangle here, and then once again, just add a good little lip right here that we can use later on. All right, so I have square kind of laid out. I did mismeasure on accident. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill a hole in the corner here and the corner here, so I can fit the jigsaw. It's around here somewhere. Blade down there, go along these lines. So I'm gonna take a measurement of this square first to make sure that when I go to cut it out for the bottom of the case, it's exact. So we'll put the measurements down there and we'll see how it goes. All right, so I have a hole cut out of each side. So I'm gonna take the top off now, and on the bottom, I'm gonna elongate that hole so when it comes in, it can slide in and move up. Sorry, I'm gonna elongate this on the bottom one to that line there so it can slide in that way. All right, so we have it pretty much roughed out. So this is the top. The case, I'm gonna put maybe like 2 holes on the case here. It's flush on the bottom, and you can see that right there. So what pretty much happens is this will slide out. Hard to do with both hands. All right, so the gist of it is, that's the top, that's the bottom. See, there's a little lip there. What happens is these 2 pieces here, it's gonna go on the case like this. I can line it up better. I'm gonna put 2 bolts through this. They'll be in the bottom of the case. And then what's gonna happen is it's gonna drop down in here. In theory, gotta sand out these edges. It'll drop down in there, and I'll be able to move it forward too. So, of course, I have only one hand right now, so I got to go through and sand the edges right here, make sure everything's flush, get those bolts in there, and then I'll mount it, and we'll be done. All right, so we're making progress. I did end up mounting it, and then I'm gonna actually unmount it. What I did is I actually drilled a hole through the plastic and the frame, which I'm gonna show you guys right now. So I did mount it. I drilled a hole all the way through. That includes a metal plate. I'm trying to see if you guys can see that or not. What that allowed me to do is I'm gonna come up to the bottom here, and I'll be able to match that hole every single time I want to put a new case on. So I'm gonna make sure I have 3 different cases I'm gonna choose from. So I'm gonna make the inside brackets for those as we progress. And before I go too much further, I'm actually gonna take a file and clean up these edges here. I want it to be pretty smooth when the the case drops. I can move it forward without catching on these burrs. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that right now too. All right, so I have it cleaned up. The top one at least. Bottom I'm not too worried about. I want it to grip a little bit, so it's gonna be able to fall down, snap in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take some 5-minute epoxy, and I'm actually gonna put some epoxy on these wider areas. Weight these down, get these cleaned up, because when I want this to kind of act as one piece when we go to mount it on the bike. So I want this to be pretty much glued together, and then we'll get the cases on. I'll make sure you guys see on the bottom, I have a good inch right here that will actually hold in the case. And I figure the less amount of distance the bottom case has, actually the more sturdy it'll be. Just how leverage works and stuff like that. So might be wrong. I'm not an engineer, but that's just the way I'm doing it. All right, so my place is a mess. As I get that to set, I'm gonna start taking care of some of these tools, kind of get down to the bare bones, and get a template going for the case. And just want to make sure you guys know what the bottom looks like. So pretty much what's gonna happen, the case is gonna be on top here, and on the bottom, I made it so when you put the bolts in, it'd be flush. So I carved out with the Forstner drill a valley where they can go into. So this will be a flush on the metal plate. So the case will drop down that top one, move forward, and then we'll drive it down on that shaft right there, another bolt with a wing down on the bottom, so I can take that and quick release it anytime I want to. All right, so the epoxy is set. Next steps, I'm gonna mount it on here. I'm using these nylon bolts. So they have a nylon fit in there so they don't come off. I'll also be putting a washer and a lock washer, so once this goes on, no vibration should take that off. Not for a long time at least. So that's how I'm gonna mount this onto the silver plate, and I'll take these holes here and mount it right back onto the frame of the KLR. All right, so I got the plate mounted on those 4 contact points. Everything matches through. I'm notorious for measuring twice, cutting once, and still getting it wrong. So mount this onto the frame now, and we'll go to the next steps, which is cutting the templates for this. All right, this is mounted on completely, not going anywhere. I'm pretty sure I almost left at the back of my bike using this. So this isn't gonna go anywhere at all. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that when we put a case on, I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't go any closer to this than it needs to be. Plus, since I have the adventure, I wanna make sure that this opens up all the way to moving forward, so I can lift it up without replacing the case. So that's what I'm doing next. All right, so I have next set of templates lined up. What I'm gonna do is drill through the bottom here, switch around, drill through the bottom. I'll drop a bolt in here after I do that. Switch it down, drill the hole through again. Then I'll take the top, the other side, and make those valleys. All right, so made this one for the Bauer case, and you'll notice that I put another section of cutting board on there because this case is so flimsy that without it, this was starting to bend up. Just by putting a little weight here, but this isn't going anywhere. It's definitely solid. So that's pretty much how it works. Is you have your pin down here, you can pop up. So trying to shoot and do this at the same time. So underneath the fender here, pop this up. In theory, it should come right up. And I'm gonna go wider angle here. All right, so yeah, you push it up. Might take a little pounding. Case pops out. So I got 2 Bauer cases here. Got a big one, got the small one. You have the Bauer case. You have the 2 sections there. Put it by the wide one. So there's a little, maybe 1/4 inch gap there. This is not perfect by any means, but then I can do that same thing. Pop this on. Push it down. Push it forward. Drop the pin in. There's my quick release. So if I didn't give you anxiety by looking at my shop, because I know it's a mess, but I hope this DIY trick will work for you. And if it doesn't, that's all right. Show me in the comments what you guys are doing for DIY that's easier than this, and man, I'll probably end up making it because I like the easy access and easy switch out. So until then, appreciate the likes and subscribes. Tell your friends. I'll see you later.